Hello, weekend.
Hello, weekend. How you doing, Matt?
Good morning, Chloe. I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Excellent.
As
Excellent.
I said in the chat, right as soon as I started the countdown for the show,
Yeah.
my neighbor started mowing his lawn, like literally right outside my window. It was
Yeah.
like
Well,
clockwork.
we can't start the show until the lawn is being mowed.
Right, right.
You got to
Uh,
get that Friday lawn mowing, Saturday lawn mowing.
no, it's
Or
Friday.
Friday, Matt. I don't know what day it is.
Yeah, we do the show
Matt,
on Friday mornings.
I've been on the road.
You, you're still not home. You are
It's a
still.
whole mess. Yeah.
It's it's a whole mess.
Yeah.
That's the second part of the road trip. Like the first part of the
Yes.
road trip is, oh my God, we're on a road
We're
trip. This is
on an
amazing. We're having a great
adventure.
time. We're on an adventure. The second part is, I just want to go to my bed.
I want to lay down in a room that belongs to me.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
No.
but
You don't
you're
know.
you're where now? What is your status?
I'm back in Wisconsin. Colorado is done. Uh, I'm possibly never going back there.
Colorado is dead to you.
It's dead to me. I was like, you know what? I always thought that moving to Colorado would be pretty cool. Let me
Mm-hmm.
go check it out, see what it's like. Colorado doesn't want me,
No.
Matt.
And you know what? That's fine.
That's
Like
fine.
you went out, you tested the waters and you're like, these waters not for me.
Not great. Not
Not
great.
great.
These waters uh actively injured me.
That's right. The state of Colorado actually
Got it out for old
got it out for
Chloe.
you. Oh man, what happened?
Oh, okay.
Are we going to
Um,
get into this story? Do you want to get into this story now? Or were you wanting to
I
save it
can
for a
do.
different part of the show?
I'll do one of the stories.
Okay, we'll do one of the
Yeah.
stories, and then we've got to say, first of all, before we do any of that, I want to say good morning to everyone in the chat. The chat is just popping this
Hello.
morning.
Thank
We
you for
appreciate
being here
you. Good morning,
today.
Bella. Good morning, Kit. Good morning, Supreme Lord Ender.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, we got a crowd.
We
So
got a crowd.
thanks for coming. Okay, so back to the story about the state of Colorado physically abusing our dear sweet Chloe.
It's not. Yeah. So, I was staying with a very good friend of mine, and in Boulder, which Boulder is so cute. It is a beautiful little town. If you've ever been to Burlington, Vermont, the
Mhm.
city planner that designed
Oh,
Burlington,
that's
Vermont,
right.
also designed Boulder. So it's
Hmm.
got sort of a similar pedestrian mall area. Lots of adorable little shops. I got my niece a unicorn kite at this store, this kite store called Into the Wind.
I
Was
love that.
purchasing it, and I didn't know there was so much involved in kites. And the guy was like, "Listen, this doesn't have a line with it. I'm gonna go get a line for you, and I'm gonna get you this little clip because it's easier than just tying it, right?"
Last week you
Also,
talked about puzzles. This week you talk about kites. Like I feel like
I
you're
learned a
the
lot.
best. You're the best aunt.
I
Uh,
I'm really, the awards are it's tough competition this year, but I'm gonna get the best aunt award.
yeah, you're really
Anyway,
working for it. Anyway, go ahead. Kites.
Boulder is great, but I'm gonna advise against floating down the Colorado Creek,
The
because
Colorado Creek.
yes, and when I say that to you, when I say floating down the Colorado Creek, that
Hmm.
sounds, it sounds very pleasant. It sounds like a sort of lazy river situation. Uh, Matt, it is that creek is not lazy,
That creek is not lazy.
and
Uh,
there's
is Oh no, that's Colorado Creek, Alaska. Sorry, I was looking up Colorado Creek,
why is
and
there a Colorado Creek,
I
Alaska?
don't know, but there is. Anyway,
Any
continue. Sorry.
anyway, um, so my friend was like, "Oh, let's go float down the Colorado Creek this afternoon." I was like, "Okay, that sounds great." And she was like, okay, so we can either like drive there and then pump up the inner tubes when we get there, which we'd have to use the manual pump for that, and that's a pain in the butt. Or we can use the electric pump here, and then we'll just walk there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, well, how far is it? And she goes, oh, it's like 5 blocks.
5 blocks?
No, it was more like a mile and a half.
Like, what's a block?
I don't know.
You're in a wooded. I'm assuming you're in a not urban area.
Well, so she lives pretty close to downtown, and so there's like blocks on your. It was 5 blocks until we got to the creek. And then we had to walk up the creek for like another mile. Well, maybe it was more than that. So we like walked.
Colorado is a magical place. It sounds just like
time and distance have no meaning there. So we're walking all this way with these inner tubes, and then we're walking along the creek, and it was like I'm looking at the water, and I'm like, this doesn't. I've got some experience with water. Okay. I did some rowing. I know what flow looks like. I know how fast that water's supposed to be going. It seems like this water's pretty fast. And, we're getting up there and I'm like, is the water usually like this? Is it higher than usual? Like, She's like, no, this is normal.
This is normal.
And then we keep going and we finally get to a point where she's like, all right, this is a good place to get in. And I'm like looking at the water. And like, as we're going up the creek, we see people who like have inner tubes, but they also have helmets. And we're going and we're like, this is not a good idea.
Oh no.
This is not a good idea. But like we came all that way with the inner tubes. And I was like, I was talking to my friend, I was like, have you done this before? And she was like, I mean, not a lot. Just like once or twice. My girlfriend's the one who really does it. And I was like, okay.
Oh, jeez.
Have you done this section? Not really. No.
Oh, God.
But we had walked all that way with the inner tubes. And I was like, we were both kind of like, we didn't just walk all the way through town looking like assholes with these inner tubes on our back to not do this. And we did it, and Matt, you know what causes those little rapids areas?
Rocks.
It's rocks.
Yeah.
And so you're in this inner tube, and there's just like rocks. It's rocks. And there's just a mesh underneath. And so when you're going over rocks, you have to like lift your butt and like the water's faster and there's no way to stop. And,
jeez.
So we're going down and like it was fun for like the first 2 little sections. And then I was like, okay, I want to get out. Oh God, how do I get out?
Oh yeah, because once you're in there.
Yeah. And if your
water
is a powerful thing. It doesn't take very much to like push you away somewhere. So, but like we're going down the creek and at one point I don't lift my butt high enough.
Oh no.
And I smacked my whole tailbone.
Oh man. I just got my legs tingled.
Yeah.
Just
super fun. Which, extra not great because Matt, I'm on a road trip.
Right. And so you're sitting.
Drive in a seated position.
Oh my God, that.
So, don't go floating down the Colorado Creek unless you're doing it with a professional and a helmet. and maybe. One of maybe some of those biking spandex that have the padding in the back.
The like, butt pads.
Yeah.
Some butt armor. Some sort of butt enhancement device that
Yeah.
will
And it's just, we
protect your
finally
cheeks.
were able to stop and get out of the river, but it was past any point where there were was an easy way to get out. So we had to crawl up through these weeds. I'm in a swimsuit. All this grass is scratching at my bare
Oh
legs.
God!
It's
like the end of a
And
horror
then-
movie. Like you're the final survivor of a horror movie.
Yeah.
Coming out of you just.
It didn't
They're
get
all
us.
dead. They're all dead.
And I'm and then we had to walk all the way back up to the starting point.
Jesus. Yeah. No.
We just we got out and we immediately deflated the inner tubes and we're all right, we're never doing that again. We're done here.
Because I love a good lazy river.
Yeah.
But I don't need rocks in my lazy river. I like it lazy.
Yeah. Not sweeping you away to your death.
Right. Yeah. But look around and all of a sudden I'm in the Grand Canyon. I'm like, how the hell did I get here?
So how do I get out?
It's just
To be fair, it was fun for 20 seconds. Those 20 seconds were amazing. We had a great time.
Like a roller coaster. If it lasts more than the allotted minute and a half, you're like, this is uncomfortable. This is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Kit says it there. You earned your stripes that day.
Thank you.
How is the tailbone? Is it feeling better? Are you feeling better?
It's I got some strong bones, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
My joints terrible. My bones pretty solid. It wasn't really bothering me. So we drove back to Wisconsin over the last 2 days. And it didn't really start bothering me until yesterday. So it's a little bit sore, but I'm gonna ice it up and everything, and it should be okay.
You'll do some stretches. You'll get I don't know if stretches will
necessary.
I'm sure help I need to talk to you about some stretches for my shoulder. I messed my shoulder up. I started at the cafe in earnest a couple weeks ago, and I carry around a backpack.
Yeah.
And there's probably more in that backpack than I really need, but I'm like a turtle. I like to be prepared for
Carry
things.
your home on your back.
Yeah. And I think I just had it in a weird position, or I grabbed it weird coming off the bus, or working to get out of somebody's way or something, and I did something to it. So it's just been every once in a while. It's just like, oh crap. That's not sweet baby Jesus.
Yeah.
And I know I'm 45 years old and those things are going to start happening more and more. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd like to put it off a little bit longer.
I will, I'm going to show everyone a little bonus stretch. I'm going to give you guys as a personal trainer, an independent personal trainer now.
An independent, hold on. I'm going to make you big so people can see you.
I'm going to give everybody a nice little stretch you can do for your neck if you like. So what you're going to do is you're going to reach your arm out. So, and you want to create tension though. So you're shooting laser beams through your fingers, right? So nice straight fingers, reaching out sort of to the side there. And then what you're going to do, there's 2 different ways to do this, and I'll show you. So the first one, you can just drop your ear to your shoulder, right? So, and I don't want you, we don't have to add extra pressure with the hand.
You want to go the opposite way of your, you want to do a whole thing up, that way?
Yeah. So creating that tension through your arm, shooting those laser beams out through your fingers is going to add to that stretch. So you don't have to add anything by pressing your head down. And then you just kind of hold that. You want to hold the stretch for about 30 seconds because that's the point at which your muscle is like, oh, I get it. We're stretching. And it relaxes.
We're doing this now.
So you can either drop your ear to your shoulder or starting upright again. You can turn your chin to your shoulder and then drop it down.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah. There you go. Nice little
wow.
stretch.
Free stretch.
Free stretch, everybody. Tell your friends.
This has been Chloe's Free Stretch Corner. Oh, we need an in.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's great.
Love it. So yeah, also hire Chloe to be your personal trainer. If you want someone to help you work out, Chloe will be that person.
I can do that for you.
Yeah, we officially have a new segment to the show.
Seriously, yeah, yep.
The weekend stretch. I like that.
Stretch. Actually, that's not a bad idea. It's good. Starting your weekend out with a little bit of self-care is not a bad idea.
Yes, she can help you get ripped so you can show off at improvs.
Yes.
Which are starting to happen again.
It's happening.
I've been doing some stuff around Union Square this last week with one of the new jobs that I'm in. And On Point Improv is back, which is very exciting. They're at Remnant every weekend.
Yeah.
I got to see some people on Sunday. I couldn't stay for the improv because I had other commitments going on. But there were a ton of people there. It sounded like it was a great show. I'm very excited to. I'm going to go this Sunday. Walrus Party, a team that I coach, is going to be performing
awesome.
This Sunday, which I'm very excited to see them.
Yeah.
Amped to take in-person classes in the fall. We're starting in-person classes. I've got my first class. I did a workshop on Saturday through Improv Boston, and
cool.
I've got another. It's an intro to improv, so it's a real basic kind of thing. I think it's like $10 if you go to improvboston.com. You can get all that. But I start my first class on Saturday too. So
amazing! And this is at the 620 location.
Yeah, this is all at the 620 Mass Ave location in Central Square. We've still got some classroom space. It's nice classroom space. They've updated it. They've worked the HVAC system so where it's better, and the AC works great.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, there's a big scoreboard in there. We have the IB scoreboard still sitting in there. Yeah, I'm just waiting to find a place to have it on my wall, and then I'm going to ask for it. Like I just want a scoreboard on my wall.
I just happened to clear off this wall. Okay.
There's a big scoreboard-sized shape right here.
It's a big open wall. I don't know what you guys are doing with that scoreboard, but I've got a space for it.
Right. So that's exciting. And then a huge news, which I'm so excited. I'm kind of doing a little plug here for Union Comedy. Union Comedy is getting a space, which is super cool.
That's so great. I'm so hyped.
Yeah. So they're going to be doing classes and some shows and all kinds of stuff. And they're doing it as a co-op, which is really exciting.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. So you can get in on this and help bring live comedy back.
Bring it back, because we miss it.
I miss it
so much.
Yeah. Oh, it's been crazy.
I want to be on stage again, Matt.
Right? You just want to go and hang out with people, and yeah, it's true. It's true. You were meant to be on stage. But it's just getting back together with people and reconnecting and I don't know, making
doing
funnies on
stuff.
Doing human stuff in front of humans. Sounds great. This is amazing. And I think I saw a billboard, or I saw like an ad at the at like South Station, like one of those things where you're waiting for the Silver Line bus. And it was talking about the future of comedy is hybrid. I'm like, yeah, it is. We've been doing that for a while. Trying to.
You guys not know about this?
Really? You're just now seeing this?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm excited to see kind of what kind of stuff comes from all of this. But if you haven't heard about the Union Comedy thing and would like to read more about it, you can go here. Put a link there in the chat. You can go and check out what's going on with Union Comedy over the course of the next few months.
Yeah.
So their lease starts September 1st. And I think they're doing some classes kind of leading up to that.
Oh, I'm so hyped.
And it's gonna be fantastic. And if you're not familiar with Union Comedy, do yourself a favor and get familiar with Union Comedy. It is just an amazing group of people. They do some really funny stuff. Get rich on comedy.
Now. Get rich on comedy.
I don't know that we'll ever get rich on comedy, but we'll be rich on the inside.
In our souls.
Yeah. In our souls. Our souls will be rich with comedy.
Absolutely.
I think that's what Kit meant to say. Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably.
I mean, well, until we both have our own Netflix specials. Obviously.
Right. Until we get picked up and then real rich.
So rich.
So rich. But until then.
Money. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts while we've been driving, and one of them was "Why Won't You Date Me?" Nicole Byers.
Okay.
Podcast, and so the podcast is basically just like she's got so she basically just like interviews people that she's interested in talking to, and the vehicle is kind of like she's trying to figure out why she's still single, and so she'll interview people that she just feels like talking to, and then she'll be like, do you have any dating advice for me? You're like, what can I use from your profession that's going to help me in my dating life?
Right.
And she was doing an interview with Tiffany Haddish, and because Tiffany Haddish, like they did the Girls Trip movie, and then she suddenly blew up from all of that. And she was talking about she'll whenever someone's interested in dating her, she'll ask for their credit score. And she's like, if you ask them for their credit score, and if they're really invested, they'll tell you what it is, and then if it's bad, that'll tell a story of like they'll start talking about like, oh, I had like these medical issues or I did all this stuff, and I'm like,
oh,
excuse me.
I was like, what happened?
I had to sneeze very badly.
No, I get it.
And she's like, because if you got bad credit because of medical issues, that's fine. But also now I know about your medical issues. I'm like, that's a little much.
I mean,
that's a little too much information.
Especially right at the beginning.
Yeah. She's not wrong. But I'm not sure it's a technique that I would use.
Right.
Anyway, she was telling me about how she was telling me in the podcast.
She was telling you specifically. Like, Chloe, listen.
Man, we got in late last night. I had to get up early this morning.
Yeah.
There was a full moon. It was a whole thing.
Oh, was it a full moon last night?
I think the full moon is maybe tonight, but it's like, it's almost full.
Oh, that could be why this this is a little bit of a spoiler for later on in the show. I do have something having to do with the full moon for you if you wish to do something this weekend that's free and online. Stay tuned. I have something great for you.
Yeah, the full moon is actually tonight. It's full moon in Aquarius. But she was talking about how she like bought her house and she paid it off in 3 years.
Jesus.
So I
want that kind of money. Yeah.
Pay off a house in 3 years, rich from comedy.
Oh.
That's my goal.
That's a good goal. I think that's a solid goal to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know. So Chloe, you were talking about earlier. You had a little bit of an issue over the course of the week. You had something bad happen to you over the course of the week. I was looking at some news stories that happened this past week from just, I don't know, whatever I can find in the first 3 or 4 clicks on Google.
Yeah.
And I found a story from July 22nd. This was on Twitter here. Officers, 7 a.m. Officers called to a high-rise condo to help hysterical resident stuck in stairwell where she just came face to face with alligator.
Oh no!
Prior to arrival, the alligator was confirmed as a realistic fake. And I just want to show you a picture of this.
Oh my god!
Seriously, if you saw
that's a pretty convincing alligator.
So you could have been this person that that thought that they were going to die.
Oh man, I mean, if you see that and you start panicking, that's you start freaking out. You can't. It's not easy to stop.
Yeah. So.
How much do you think that alligator cost?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I would say that's not a solid gold. I mean, is it a solid gold alligator?
Is it a solid? The real question is
the real question on everybody's mind: is it a solid gold alligator?
Are those ruby jewels in its eyes?
No, there are no ruby jewels in its eyes.
Did Indiana Jones say at any point that this belongs in a museum?
Yes. The soul of an ancient alligator god is inside this statue.
Trapped inside.
Kid, I don't know who would do that. I don't know who would want something like this. I'm sure an alligator enthusiast would want something like this in their living room.
Maybe it's the alligators. Why would you leave it in a stairwell?
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering if here's what I'm thinking. It's like the door from the stairwell opens up into the room, and then you see the alligator, and then you close yourself in the stairwell, trying to keep away from the alligator.
The lobby. The alligator's in the lobby.
Right. The alligator's in the lobby.
Okay.
This woman, freaked out, and is what I'm putting a lot into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuck in a stairwell where she just came. So my guess is she opened the door. Yeah, and then freaked out.
Yeah.
As far as I don't know a lot about what's going on here. Let's see. It was Vancouver. Wow. This was the Vancouver Police Department.
Wow.
So
you get alligators up in Vancouver.
Yeah. Running up a secluded stairwell, rounding the corner, and suddenly coming to face. Like you just come down around, and then boom, it's there. It's like, oh shit. Like that's. Yeah.
I want to get out of that stairwell.
You don't want to be in that stairwell.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, it could have been much worse there.
Yeah.
Chloe.
Yeah, that could have been. It could have been a real alligator.
Have you ever been up close to an alligator? Have you ever seen?
Oh, I think I've definitely seen little ones. I don't think I've ever seen a big old alligator.
There was I remember a movie growing up that I watched a lot of. It was Romancing the Stone.
Oh.
Do you remember the movie Romancing the Stone? Have you ever seen it? It's Kathleen Turner, Michael Douglas, and Danny DeVito. It was they did a few movies together. So they did Romancing the Stone, they did Jewel of the Nile, and then they did there was a movie War of the Roses, which was just kind of that.
Wow.
Just kind of a different, whole other project. But they did that. They did all these movies in the course of a time together. But the bad guys in that movie were super into alligators and super into so that was a terrifying experience. It was just, they were always just scary, scary creatures, and they're basically dinosaurs. So, yeah, you don't mess with. You see one of those, you just go the other way.
Just try to go away from it if you can.
If you can. Let's see what else we got for this week. Oh, this was cool. This came out this week. The Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue had a trans model on the cover for the first time.
Wow.
Yeah, this was on NPR. This was an NPR thing.
That's so great.
Yeah, Lena, or either Leyna, maybe Lena Blum.
It's pretty either way.
Yeah,
that's a nice name. I like that.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
So good for Sports Illustrated.
Good for Sports Illustrated,
I guess.
Megan Thee Stallion was on there too.
Yeah.
And she was like, you can get all these swimsuits that I'm wearing on Fashion Nova. And I was like, okay.
I'm there. I love that they're...
Summer is not over yet.
I mean, we're only halfway through, right?
We're only halfway through Hot Girl Summer.
Mm-hmm. So there you go. They've got all those, and they're doing all this like the body positivity things with the swimsuit issue now, and that's fantastic. So they're turning a corner, which is nice. I mean, it's 2021, so I mean it should have been done a long time ago, but it's happening.
Well, and it's always interesting because the thing about it is that people will say things of like, oh, well, they're just like pandering to what people want now, and it's like, yeah, that's that's the point. It's like, that a lot of times like that visibility is the first step, and even if it's like they're doing it because it's what the people want, it's like, yeah, that's the point, is we got to keep telling them what we want, and then we'll change.
That's what the people want.
Yeah.
Could not agree more.
Yeah. I love all the body positivity stuff because it's so, as a trainer, like I see it all the time. Mm-hmm. People have very unrealistic standards for what they think their body should or can look like.
Right.
And there's so much diversity. There's so much diversity in the ways that a body can look. And there are a couple different ways to approach it. So there's body positivity, which is like actively like affirming yourself, loving your body, being thankful and being like, thank you body for doing everything that you do for me.
Which the body does a lot for you. I mean,
it does. It carries you around all day. It gets tired.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Tell me about it. And then, but there's also body neutrality, which is, sometimes, loving your body can be really difficult. And so sometimes it's an easier way in to think of your body as just a body. So body neutrality is like, this is my elbow. It is an elbow. It bends. That's what it does. And not putting any...
Not like, this is the best elbow in the world.
Greatest elbow you've ever seen.
I love this elbow.
Right. So just like taking away the judgment and your thoughts about your body. So then, you're not necessarily having like positive thoughts about it, but you're also removing the negative thoughts as well. And just like getting used to the idea of like, this is the vessel that carries me through life, and it does what it does, and that's what it is.
Yeah, that's not body neutrality. That is this is the antithesis of that.
That is, That's body narcissism.
Yes. Also, Kit does have amazing elbows. I don't know
amazing elbows.
I don't know if you've seen Kit's elbows in person, but they are breathtaking.
Breathtaking.
I've never seen such elbows. In the history of elbows.
Listen, in the history of time, there have been so many elbows. These ones,
2 per person. Most of the time.
Most of the time. Yeah.
Some 3, some less. It all averages out.
All elbows are beautiful.
All of them are beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, we just kind of we take a topic and then just go until it derails, and then we can
we don't know how to get back.
And then we don't know how to get back, and we just Mike's not here to help us move through things. Mike, I don't know what you're doing right now, but
I don't know what your day is like.
You're in Florida, and yeah. This is the time of the show where we just you know what? Here, Chloe, I'm gonna make you big here in a second, and I want you to give a message to Mike Carr. I want you to speak directly, into the camera as if you're speaking to Mike Carr, who's not watching the show but might see this on repeat.
He might.
So here we go.
Mike, are you there? Mike, please come back. We miss you, and we need you, and the show switched days. I don't know if you knew, it's on Fridays now. And it's disorienting, and we need help. Please come back. I know you're in Florida, but please come back.
Yeah, okay. It's my turn now. Mike, I just wanted to say, I know that you're doing what you're doing, and I know we had to have some time apart, and I get that. I want you to grow as a person. I feel I've grown as a person. But now we've moved days. I don't know if you heard, we've moved to Fridays, and we did that partially because we want you back, Mike.
We want you back.
We want you back. I miss you.
Matt is better now.
I'm better now. I've gone to therapy. I've seen someone. We've worked through a lot of the things that we talked about, and now I feel we're better. This was the worst time for our guest to pop into the green room, because now he's back there going, "What the hell have I just signed myself? What the hell have I just signed myself into?" Well, so we might as well. We're going to bring him out so he doesn't have time to click out on his own.
Yeah.
Before he hits the escape button. We're going to get him on here. Very excited. He's an author. He's an activist. He does so much stuff. I'm so excited to talk about all the different projects he works on. He does podcasts. He writes books. It's amazing. So let's bring out Dinur Blum. Dinur, hello.
Oh, you're muted.
There we go. It always happens at least once a semester when I teach on Zoom. It was bound to happen during an interview. Morning. How are you? How are y'all?
Oh my goodness, I'm so good. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Dinur. And you're calling us from the West Coast, so it's ridiculous early there this morning. We don't normally get guests from the California, that's what I call it, the California.
The California.
Because it's so early over there. People usually just go, no, thank you. So thank you for saying yes.
Of course, no problem.
Oh my goodness, you sent all the things that you work on. You just do so much stuff. But let's get the basics of of who you are as a person.
For sure.
First of all, so where you are from California? What part of California are you from?
So I grew up in San Jose. My students will give me shit because I'm a huge Bay Area sports fan, and now I'm teaching in Los Angeles, and the Bay Area and Los Angeles historically have some rivalries going, be it Giants and Dodgers, be it before the Golden Knights came into the league, the Sharks and the Kings. Now we were all united in our hatred of all things Vegas Golden Knights, so that's kind of been a nice change.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. That sort of thing. So you've said students. So you are an instructor. Where do you instruct?
I teach at Cal State Los Angeles. We're teaching mostly first generation students. We're a Hispanic serving institution. We're right in East Los Angeles, so not too terribly far from downtown, from the financial district, but we're closer to Boyle Heights and that area.
Oh, okay. All right. Fantastic. That sounds amazing. And you are a sports guy. Oh my goodness. I've looked at all the stuff and I'm like, we're gonna try to connect here because I'm not.
Yeah, my research is all over the place. So, welcome to the shit show my students get to deal with when they have me.
Yeah.
So have you? Oh, go ahead, Chloe.
You talk a lot about teaching, but what is it that you actually teach?
Yeah,
I teach sociology and criminology. But I know you had Matt had mentioned one of the that I do podcasts. One of the podcasts that I do is actually with a friend of mine, and he teaches at a different Cal State. He's at Dominguez Hills, and he and I run this podcast called Learning Made Easier because we saw so many of our students kind of struggling with things that maybe we thought that, they might take for granted, but high school doesn't develop it very well. So things like time management, things like study skills, knowing how to actually read, how to talk to your professors, things like that. And so we figured we could either be super bitter and say, wow, these kids don't know what they're doing, or we could say, okay, like, we're teaching them, let's teach them how to be students. And at the same time, we were seeing especially once we went online, we were seeing so many arguments among different professors, like, what do we do now that we're all online? How do I make my students keep their webcams on or not? And we said, okay, like, clearly it's not just students that could use our advice. We can gear our advice, and we try and gear all of our episodes to helping both teachers and students. Sometimes it ends up being more one group than the other, but our goal is to try and help students succeed more in their classes, but also help teachers kind of connect with their students and help teachers be better teachers.
That's such a fantastic idea, and the podcast it's in digestible chunks, so it's easy for people to listen to probably several episodes at once to just kind of get some things, or they can pick and choose what their what their issues are and think, oh man, that's something I wish I would have had in college.
And we get that a lot from our students, and so we're glad that even if it's late in the game for them, we're glad to help give them those tools because. We know how frustrating it is. I mean, both Adam and I, Dr. Sanford, both of us have had, we've struggled as students, but we're also teaching at the college level. And that means that these struggles, they might feel like the end of the world at first, but, there's stuff that once you get the tools and you're able to work with those tools to overcome the difficulties, you are able to succeed. One of the big things we see with students, and you had mentioned the books I write. I wrote about student athletes for my dissertation. Managing time and energy is such a difficult skill. And I struggle with it today too. And I teach. So like if I'm struggling with it, I'm guessing someone who's between 18 and 25 probably has struggled with it too, especially if they have to practice for their sport, if they have a job outside of school, if they have caregiving obligations. Like, we know that there are so many demands on our students' time and on their energy that if they don't develop the ability to prioritize and to work through things and to manage their time, they're going to get overwhelmed. And so we'd rather be able to try and step in and offer some advice and see if we can help them that way.
Yeah, it's got to be so hard being a student athlete. I mean, you were a student athlete, yeah?
I was.
I was a theater student, so I mean, we had our own kind of. I mean, it's
and
still
between the two of you, you've got what got us through quarantine: Netflix and sports somewhere else.
It's really hard because in elementary school, high school, like everything is very structured for you. You go to school, you're there all day, and then you go home and you eat dinner and do your homework, and that's your whole day. In college, it's such a more loosey-goosey. It's like, oh, you might only have this class once or twice a week, and then you have all these extra hours, and you're like, I can do anything. And it doesn't always go well. And like for me, I had always been super high achieving, right? I was in all the leadership programs when I was a kid and all that stuff. And so I got to college and I was like, I've got extra time. I'm supposed to fill it, right? And on top of I was planning to do a double minor or double major, double minor. I ended up just doing one minor, major and a minor. And then I was in a sorority and I was on the crew team. And I went to the doctor 3 separate times during my college career because I was convinced I had mono because I was so tired.
That's insane.
When it turns out I was just doing too much.
Right. And I'm guessing that meant like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Wake ups to get that early morning practice in, and then a full day of classes, whatever that looked like on any given day, any given semester, and then maybe an afternoon practice or getting ready for a competition. And I mean, competitions take travel time, and that's part of the hidden cost that I think a lot of student athletes and I think a lot of instructors don't take into account is, you can say, hey, the game or the meet starts at 1 and it's 1 to 4, but like really it's an all day thing because there's time to get there, there's time to prep, there's time to cool down after. And even if you have time, that doesn't mean you have the focus. It doesn't mean you have the energy to do things well. And so, we teach our students, whether they're student athletes or not, we teach them, hey, you can either work on them early or, like I always try and encourage my students, talk to me if something comes up. If you need that extra day or something, just let me know so that I know what's going on, and that way I can work with you.
Yeah.
But it's also wanting to see them develop that, if nothing else, that communication skill. Like, hey, something came up and I need this extra day. If they don't, have them work on that time management. Hey, I got this paper done before I went to the game, or I was able to get a draft right after this practice, something like that.
Yeah. And I think a lot of students are not aware of like teachers want you to learn. They want you to do well. And so, it was a little bit easier for me because like I loved school so much. And like, when I was growing up, like my teachers were my favorite people. And so I wanted to talk to them all the time. And so that really helped me, like going to college and being like, hey, like I'm struggling with this, or like, can I come into your office hours? Like, can you give me a deadline for an early draft? Because I've got ADHD on top of all this. And so like,
and that kind of communication helps us so much because now we know, okay, this person isn't missing an assignment because they don't give a shit. They're missing an assignment because they're overwhelmed. Like something's going on. What can we do to make it a little less overwhelming? Like, we can't say like, well, it's great, like you're not going to do the paper and everyone else will, but we can say, okay, let's work with you so that you're not feeling as like everything's crumbling on top of you all at once.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Wow, college is a stressful time.
I think a lot of the people that look back on it super nostalgically really underplayed just how stressful some of the things are.
Yeah,
it's the same phenomenon
totally
as the people
that
say that like high school is the best 4 years, or in some cases 4 to 7 years of their lives. Y'all are just forgetting just how much crap you went through and how much you are repressing right now.
Yeah. You've blocked all of it, which great, good for you. Make your life happier. Let's talk about a little bit of your charity work, because you have this organization called Strike Out for a Cause. Talk about that.
So this is actually a charity that my good friend Terrence runs out of Lake Elsinore down in Southern California. And the main idea with his organization was to work with military families, because T was in the military, and so he understands kind of the stresses that military families go through way better, honestly, than I would. But there's a program that he runs that I totally geeked out on, and I've been helping him with. And the program is, within Strike Out for a Cause, is called Pay It Forward to Play It Forward. And the idea is this was also based, at least in small part, on some of the research on mass shootings I do. But one of the things that I point out is that from a young age, we're not socialized to think of ourselves as parts of our community. We're taught to think of ourselves just as individual people. And one of the things I'd love to see is to see students be encouraged and be rewarded for doing the right thing. So for every number of community service hours or every number of things done, and this could be inside school, right? Like, let's say a kid is just excelling at reading or math or science. They can tutor some of their classmates who are struggling. I would count that, stuff to help out in the community or around the school. They do X amount. They get stuff from a minor league baseball team, whether it's signed gear, whether it's lessons from the players, tickets to games, stuff like that. It's a way to reward kids for doing the right thing. And obviously it's not going to reach every single kid, but I'd rather start somewhere and build on that. And I'm really grateful for Terrence's charity, for Strike Out for a Cause, because I think it's a really, really, really excellent way to be able to help a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And all it takes is one kid and then he or she has so much influence amongst their peers, and then other people start doing nice. I mean, peer pressure is a powerful thing, but you can harness it for good.
Exactly. So why not use that peer pressure to try and help make our communities a little bit better?
Yeah. America is a very individualistic society. We're very and which also again makes school harder because we feel like we should solve every problem by ourselves. The happiest people, the people that live the longest, are the ones who have a strong community and have strong friends, and building that is so important.
And even when I teach, I tell my students to work together in small groups. I don't tell them just study on our own. I tell them get together in small groups, go through this material, ask each other questions, because if you just skim material on your own, you're going to be like, yeah, I'm familiar with this. I'm golden. I got this. Yeah. If you talk that through and you go, we said this in class and I don't remember why, they can ask.
Yeah.
They can talk to each other, but it's a way to strengthen and reinforce that material. And it's a way to try and reshape education from being it's just yours to, it's yours, but you're also with other people who are also trying to get an education. So work together in this goal. I don't curve my grades. I don't tell my students you're competing against each other. It's not like, I can only give out 5 A's in the class and everyone else, is screwed. It's, show me what you got, show me what you're doing, and work together to help each other. Make it iron sharpening iron.
Yeah. It's so good to see this kind of education happening because, I grew up in central Illinois, very small town. And, it was all, every person for themselves. We did group projects and things like that, but that was not the standard. That was the exception. These group projects. Other times there were times in grade school we would literally put books up around our desk and make it like a
fort,
like a little fort to keep everyone else from from cheating or looking at tests and things like that. So having that kind of collaboration, that's awesome. That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And more than anything, odds are my students won't remember 90+% of the material I teach, but if they remember the skills and they're able to use those skills, and I'm considering that a success.
Oh yeah, because that's what they're going to use. The skills are what they're going to use as a person, and that keeps. That helps the population just become better to each other. There's so much toxicity in our environment, in our world right now, and putting a little good out there does a lot.
And that also, I think that also applies to sports of I don't row anymore. Once in a while I'll get out on the water, but the skills that I learned from playing sports, that's knowing that I can do difficult things, knowing how to communicate with your teammates, all of those things that I learned from sports, that has made me a better and stronger person, and I can keep using those skills. And it's just, that's just as important for someone's development. That socializing is just as important as being in a classroom.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So with it being summer, what are you doing with yourself right now? Are you still teaching? Are you teaching summer classes?
So we just finished teaching our summer class not too long ago. Now I'm starting the fall course prep syllabi.
Okay.
But part of my summer has also been helping Strikeouts for a Cause. So I do, and you mentioned you saw the photography. I do a ton of sports photography.
Yeah.
When I'm not teaching, doing research, and
you said it wouldn't come up, and you said this wouldn't come up,
right?
We are totally getting it in there. I love it. I'm going to actually bring it up right now because I've got it all set up here. Yeah. Do you have any particular albums that you're proud of here that we can?
And I'm proud. And the cheesy one to say is I'm proud of all of them. But
they're all your children.
But what I love doing is, and you can see even some of the cover photos, I love showing some of the emotion of the game. So when I shoot a game, especially in the minors, these players don't get a ton of photos. So I try and get as many of them as I can because I know, they're going to want to send stuff to their families, to their friends. But I love capturing the emotion of the game. Like, these are guys playing a game. These are kids playing a game. They're not just all robots. They're not all automatons. And so I like to bring that in. In that case, I've got a coach hitting BP to one of his players.
That's I love that. I love the ball just right there. That's really cool.
And actually, one of the things that stood out to me, and this was, I know it's super obscure, but it was a game I shot a few years ago. It was Visalia at Inland Empire in San Bernardino, and it's like 110 degrees out on the field. And Visalia's manager is out there on his knees hitting grounders to some of his infielders, knowing that like his goal is to get them to move up to the next level. It's not just to win, that particular game or even win the league. It's how can I help these players advance? And I thought that that's a really beautiful take. Yeah. And that's kind of the approach that I take as a teacher. Like, what can I do to help these students take that next step? Where the photography came in initially was, I'm helping Terrence by photographing the Lake Elsinore storm. We're going to turn some of these photos into cards for the players.
Cool.
And so the hope is that we can, one, maybe through the team, sell the team set and have that help the charity a little bit. Yeah. Creating different kind of photo series for the players. And one of the things I'll be doing is just photographing the guys coming off the bus, like walking into the clubhouse, stuff that normally, especially in the lower levels, doesn't get seen very well. But just give them that kind of feeling like, hey, like, I don't know to what extent they'll feel big time. It is still the minors, but still like, oh, like there's someone coming us off the bus, kind of styling whatever they're wearing for the game type of deal.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
If I can use, my take has always been, if I can use my skills to help people do a little bit better, that's kind of what pushes me. I do that in my teaching. I do that in the photography. I love doing sports photography. It's gotten to the point where I won't buy cards, and I probably shouldn't say that given that we're trying to create cards, but like I got into sports photography because I used to collect sports cards. And so now it's kind of a trip thinking that some of these photos will be cards. But the reason I don't buy the cards is, at least when it's a photo I've taken that I give to the players, it's a little bit more personal. Like, hey, I took this. I was the one spending minutes going through the albums and deciding which ones to go to give you. And like, it's a little bit more personal than just, I bought this card, sign it.
Yeah. You want their signature on your work, and that's fantastic. Dinur, you do so much. Like, there's so much that you do, and it's all like, I love how it all kind of weaves together. Like,
I did not see it happening this way, but like, I'm kind of cool with stuff connecting in ways that I didn't think about when I started it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So the Learning Made Easier podcast, we've got the link in the chat. I've got the link in the chat for Strikeout for a Cause. You have a fantasy football podcast as well, right? Now, we used to do a fantasy football show on the channel called The Boy Detectives, where they would draft sports teams out of different things. Like they would do the I think they did the canceled celebrities draft.
Oh, nice.
They did the Pokemon draft. They did the anti-heroes draft where they were, it was really a lot of fun.
Nice.
So how did you tell us about your fantasy football podcast?
So this started out actually as a quarantine project, and it started out as a way for us. It's Ace or Altanon. He's our moderator. Edgar, who's a friend of ours. Ian is one of Ace's brothers. Myself. Now we've got Ace's other brother, Jay McShay, on. And we started it just because it was a way, one, to have some fun. We missed sports, and we're like, all right, football's back. I guess we're going to talk football. Like, let's have some fun with this. And we also used it as a way to just keep in touch with each other, because once or twice a week we would meet, and that way we could check, hey, how's everyone doing? How are you all doing? And this is kind of Ace's vision, and we're just glad to help make it grow. But one of the things that he's been doing that I think is fantastic is he'll find different video clips of players we're highlighting, and we tend to focus a lot on rookies and second year players, just guys who are just coming in, maybe don't get a ton of hype. And he was great at editing these clips and giving us stats for the people who keep them on their team or just their fans. I think it's been a lot of fun doing that, just because, one, I've got to get used to working in front of the cam because I teach on Zoom. And two, if I'm going to get used to it, I may as well get used to it by doing something kind of fun. And what better fun than for me, talking sports with some friends.
And it's something you're super knowledgeable about, so it's one of those things that you have the information that you like. Talking sports on camera to me sounds like a nightmare that I would have, like a stress dream that I would have, right? Like I be like, I'm on a sports podcast. Awesome.
Right. When you're out of your element, you go, what I've got all the information. I don't know what information I need, what's relevant.
Right? But I love, that's still I like listening to stuff like that, because it's like you can hear kind of the passion of the person in the, and then, you learn a little something. That with the Boy Detectives, I learned a little bit. I actually learned a little bit about football watching that, teching that podcast or teching that show, because, they would talk about it and parts of it would kind of sink in. And I'm like, all right, I know when I'm being educated. I know when I'm educated.
Nice.
Well, Dinur, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Waking up early and having to get caffeinated before you really want to, especially when you've got so much on your plate to begin with.
All good. All right. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, have a great rest of your day.
You as well.
And we hope to have you back to talk about more projects.
Perfect.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Fantastic.
That's
it's just
cool.
It blows my mind that it's got so much going, but it all melds together, so it all works, and you're doing good. You're putting good out into the world, and that deserves to be recognized.
Absolutely. That's super important. And go check out that podcast. I was looking through. I was.
Oh, it's so cool! Yeah,
and it's just because it's not something that we talk about. Like, it seems silly to be like, how do you learn how to learn? But it's very necessary to figure out the best ways to absorb knowledge. Because it really does make your life easier. Spotify link to that podcast too. I'm going to put the Spotify link in the chat too, so you can get that podcast on Spotify. Yeah. And we had and I think Kit mentioned a little bit earlier about perfectionism being a really hard thing to deal with in terms of learning and school and stuff like that. And there is an episode I think about that. But that's something that I've always really struggled with, because of the ADHD. One of the coping mechanisms a lot of people have is perfectionism, and because we don't want people to think that we're dumb or that we're airheads or something, so we put a lot of extra effort into making sure that it's faultless, right? But that's actually really it's actually damaging. It's actually really you get you get paralyzed whenever you have an idea to do something and you're like, oh, I can't do that. I'm not going to be able to do it right. And I just, honestly, a lot of my techniques for dealing with that comes down to like, think about all the people that are not doing it right, but they're doing it anyway.
Right.
And I could do it better than a lot of them. So I think I'm going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, you have to be happy with it yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you have to just accept it. Yeah. Kid says deadlines are so useful. Like this, like it has to be done. So just turn it in.
Yeah.
Just let it go. It's fine. It's fine.
I would always do that. I would always like finish a paper, submit it, and then be like, it's in God's hands now. I can't worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
It's not mine. It's in the universe. We're done here.
Yeah. Well, when my papers in college were literally usually written right up into the deadline, so it was literally, well, I have to hit send right now, or I'm going to fail the class.
Yeah.
I
would lock myself in my room.
I was not a good college student, and I know that. Like, I was a bad student. If Dinur would have met me in college, he probably would not have cared for me.
He would be like, let me help you.
Let me help you. I mean, I don't know. I had my college experience, and I would not. It was wonderful. I met some amazing people and had some things happen.
Yeah.
And so, but he's right. You do compartmentalize all the stress and everything.
Yeah. I don't understand how people forget it. It was it's like such at the forefront. How do you not remember?
Yeah.
I was so tired.
Yeah.
And it's really, college is like, it's important to learn, but it's not like a healthy environment for your body. Like, a lot of times when I have clients that are in grad school and they're like, I want to lose a bunch of weight and get super ripped, and I'm like, yeah, all right, but also remember you're in grad school.
I've thought about going to grad school because I was a theater major, and you don't really get to work in theater unless you have especially if you want to do, academic theater or work at a college or a junior college or, even teach theater, whatever. You have to have some sort of graduate degree. And I've thought about it, and then I was like, no. I'm not gonna do that. Like, I did, and now I'm well. I don't want to say I'm too old, because there are definitely people my age or older that go into grad school, and who knows, this might change. I might change my mind in a year. But as of right now, for a while I went and I got the books for the test. The test you have to take to get into grad school, and I was looking, and I was immediately nope.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no. I just spent $60 on books that I'm never going to use because I looked at them and immediately freaked out.
Yep. It's a lot. It's a whole lot.
It's a lot. But that's all right. We're where we're supposed to be.
That's all right. Sometimes, actually,
Kit is so right.
That's You are where you're supposed to be. I think about this all the time. Whenever my plans get derailed, so here's the thing. I never thought that I would end up in Boston. I can tell you how I got here, but intellectually, I still don't understand it because
samesies.
I had such a different idea from where I was going to be, but I sort of stumbled into where I am, and I'm pretty happy with it. And so whenever stuff like that happens, or whenever I'm on a trip and something gets derailed, I don't get frustrated with it because because I think about the fact that maybe if we had left in time, we would have gotten into a horrible accident and we'd all be dead now. Which is of course an exaggerated version of that, but it's things will for
things
the
will
most
always
part,
happen. Yeah.
Things happen. Things work out pretty good. Like, you know, my trip to Colorado got cut a little bit short. But you know, thinking about all of the other things that like possibly could have gone wrong or I might have missed out on because I didn't come back to Wisconsin, like, you know, it worked out, and it's going to work out. Like, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna
work out.
And also being back in Wisconsin is great because I've got my own bed and my own room here.
And you're closer to being back in Boston, which is what we all want you to just be back.
Once I get back, I'm never gonna leave again.
We'll see to that.
We'll see to that.
We've actually, the whole time you've been gone, we put one of those perimeter fences around the border of Massachusetts. It's just one of those little, like,
so once I get back in,
you're just gonna
activate it, and then I can't leave.
Right. We're gonna put a little chip in you, and then you just the borders of Massachusetts. You can go up to the border, but if you try to cross into Vermont or Maine or just New England, I'll say let's do New England because you should be allowed to.
Because it's not very big.
Yeah,
it'll be a nice little playground for me.
You should be allowed to go to Vermont and Maine.
Vermont is very nice, and you know it's almost.
You know what I heard about Vermont? You could just go to Vermont and not go to Boulder.
Yeah,
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Well, we're kind of winding down here. Before we do go, I know that we used to have a wonderful little opening segment that had all these cute little animals, and they were adorable.
Yes.
And now that we've changed to the weekend, I feel we got rid of that. We retired it.
Yes.
It was our opening theme for a year, so we decided to change it up to that lovely jazz clarinet that you heard at the beginning of the show.
I love jazz clarinet.
But I also feel like I feel like we took the animals away from you, and I don't want to do that.
We can't do that.
So I found a little video here. It's a little one of those what do they call it when they have a lot of different videos all smashed together? A compilation, if you will.
Of cute animals?
And it's a this week thing. So I tried to pick things that I tried to pick a video that was fairly new, so not a lot of stuff has seen. So here we go.
Yeah,
we'll take a listen. If you can't hear this, Chloe, let me know.
Okay. Oh no, I can hear it.
That horse does not care for his reflection.
Who gave him that mirror?
This is like a horror movie. This is like, oh hey.
What's up, bro?
I love this. I want.
Oh, kitties.
Look at the talons on that bird. He's such a jerk.
This is quite a range of animals.
Right? This is quite a range. I love this. I love this little bird here.
He's sticking the papers into his feathers.
Yeah, he's dressing up. He's like, look at this. Look what I can do.
It's hard to believe that Mint Mobile can.
And that's Ryan
Reynolds.
Stupid YouTube commercials.
Another cute animal.
I want another cute animal. Ryan Reynolds.
Speaking of cute animals, so I sent it.
Oh,
to
send me
you
that. Yeah.
On Facebook Messenger.
You did.
But the last few days that I was in Colorado, I was hanging out with my friend Andrew. Who's one of my friends from Alaska, but he lives in Colorado now. And we had such a great time. We went paddleboarding on Saturday, and apparently now the thing is like inflatable paddleboards, so you can like.
Wait, here's a picture of Chloe paddleboarding.
Yeah, look at me.
Look at me.
In the world. Those are both inflatable boards, so you can like break them down and put them inside your car instead of having to like put them on top or whatever.
This looks so much better than an inner tube.
Yeah, it was for so many reasons. It's much better. And you can put them in backpacks, so if you're like hiking or something, you can hike with the backpack and then fill them up and then go. It's really awesome. Anyway,
is this the picture of the pup?
Yes. So Andrew has a puppy named Evie.
He's like, nope.
Yeah, she's so funny.
I love how she just goes is she going around you in a circle?
Yeah, she's going around. She's actually going around the whole apartment. Like she's running through the kitchen. And then
Gracie does that. Gracie does that with the zoomies. Yeah. So there
she is.
Oh.
She's so cute.
She's so cute.
She's a little rescue puppy. And I've never seen a dog use their paws more than she does.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's very like she'll punch anything.
Yeah. Don't mess with me.
Which like I didn't know that dogs could punch. But she can.
And then this is a picture of you and oh wait, there was a now you're looking at my Facebook.
Oh no.
Oh no. No. And then I love this picture. Yes. Of you and Buddy Joe.
I got a doggy backpack, everybody.
Because of course you did.
Because of course I did. He's only 16 pounds.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
not bad.
Sometimes when we're walking, he does a little bit too much sniffing and you don't really get anywhere. So I decided to get a backpack, and it's also good for hiking because he's pretty good on hikes. He's very hyped about being out in nature. But sometimes he gets a little bit tired because he's 14 years old, and so I would have to carry him here, either in front or up on my shoulder like a cannon.
Which like a little cute bazooka.
Like a cute little bazooka, which is not so, it's not so bad, but like if you have to go a long way that way or like this, it can be really tiring for your arms. So
yeah.
I was like, I'll just put him in a backpack. Because my friend LJ has one for her dog who goes biking. And let me tell you, 0 regrets. It's the best thing ever.
I might look into that because
he loves it.
I might see if Annie might like that.
He loves being up high so he can see everything.
Oh, yeah.
And like people love a dog in a backpack. Like people already are like, when they see him, they're like, oh, what a cute dog. But like way more when he's in a backpack.
Their eye level, yeah.
You're right there.
Yeah. So. Dogs in backpacks are the cutest thing in the world.
And that picture was taken in front of a gelato place called Gelato Boy.
Gelato Boy?
Gelato Boy. So, and I want you to tell me when I say Gelato Boy, please. I want you to tell me what you picture.
Kind of like the a humanoid figure made out of gelato. It's melty and disgusting and quite terrifying. Actually, it's so very upsetting.
So funny because everyone I've asked that question to has a different answer. So
really?
My thought,
shocking
Boy,
that would be.
I know you wouldn't think, but so my thought, Gelato Boy, I was like, oh, it's like a paper boy, but with gelato.
Where he just throws gelato at your door.
Get your gelato here. He's got like a hat. He's got the newsboy hat. Get your gelato here, cold, fresh gelato. Okay, my friend Lily, who's been on this trip with me, she heard Gelato Boy and she thought pool boy, except with gelato.
I just want to point out Dinur is still hanging out, and I love him, and I actually kind of want to bring him back on. I'm gonna bring you back on right now because you're actually chatting in the private chat, so only Chloe and I can see that. Nobody else can see that. So what do you think of when you hear Gelato Boy?
Oh, so what I said was I'm thinking of a chunky Italian superhero, so think of like Super Mario, but instead of a plumber, it's all gelato.
It's all gelato. It's all gelato. And his name's like Giuseppe.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is my new favorite game. Just ask people.
Yeah. 100%.
When I say Gelato Boy.
It's a new segment called Gelato Boy. And Dinur, you win the round because
I think Dinur won.
Yeah. See, so sticking around did have its advantages.
Yeah.
Not to mention the cute animals.
I mean, you got
Ryan
to see
Reynolds.
some. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds is the cutest of animals. I'm very excited for this new movie he's got coming out, Free Guy. Because I actually am working now with a guy that's in that movie. He's in the movie.
Oh yeah, Mike. Different Mike Devine, right?
Is Mike Devine in the movie? I didn't know Mike Devine was in the movie.
Who else is in it?
I know a guy by the name of Mark, who is friends with Mike Carr, who has a like a storyline in the movie. Like I think he plays one of the NPCs.
Oh my gosh!
In the
Matt,
like one of the
we are so close to Ryan Reynolds.
We're so close to Ryan Reynolds. I guess he was in Provincetown filming something, or he's going to be in Boston filming something. There's a Will Ferrell. He's in a new movie with Will Ferrell where it's like a Scrooged movie where Ryan Reynolds is the Scrooge character, and Will Ferrell will be playing the ghost of Christmas Present. And it's a musical, so it's there's a lot going on there.
There's a lot happening there. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, and now and it's not even out yet. I can't even wait to see it. Fantastic. Real quick before we go, and Dinur, I'm just going to keep you on camera because I mean, why not? We're all here. We're all hanging out. There is one thing I want to point out. There's in case you're looking for something to do this weekend and you're in the Boston area. So if you end up making a cross-country flight out here this weekend to Boston, where did I put it? Oh, here it is. In the Seaport district on Sunday, they're doing an outdoor market, and it's a Black-owned Boston market. So it's
cool.
And it's in the Seaport. It's this weekend. It's Sunday from 12 to 6, and I'm going to put the link in the chat so everybody can see it. So if you're in if you want to take a trip out to the Seaport, it's beautiful out there. That's where I work. I work out in the Seaport District in Boston, and it's very pretty. It's got a beautiful view of the harbor. You can see the planes take off. It's really cool. So head on out and support Black-owned businesses this weekend. Yeah. And that's our show. We're done. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you again to Dinur Blum for coming and checking us out this morning and chatting with us, waking up early. We appreciate it. And until next time, y'all, have a great day.
Goodbye, world.
Bye.